Good afternoon, everyone. This is Scott, and welcome to the weekly trade report video for the week of March 26th, 2017. So if we look here at the Dow Jones Industrial ETF, we can see here that we've basically been in a downtrend, and we continue to be in an intermediate downtrend ever since Trump gave that speech to Congress. So that ended up being the euphoric high. You know, that was the day it gapped up and really ran, and then ever since then the market's been kind of sideways. And then on Tuesday we had a big sell-off in the market where I took a pretty decent lick on a position, GNK, that it looked great, but it ended up failing. But on this day when the market dropped, basically everything in the market got hit. It was only a few stocks that did not get hit by that drop. So that was a market-wide drop. And so since that day, we've had, the last few days have been kind of sideways to down. And so it appears, well, that the intermediate term trend is down. Okay, so we can see that where it's just putting in lower highs, and we have yet to kind of turn back up. And so at least at the time being, the market is in a weak position. So a couple of key levels of support potentially would be this 50-day moving average, which you can see here usually acts as support in longer term uptrends. And then it also would be this previous breakout high back here at 201 on the DIA. So those are two areas, I mean, that if the market remains weak, that you get some support. It could, turn back up, but start to put in a higher low and higher highs. But over the past several weeks, we've been in a tough market, and a lot of breakouts have failed. There's been a few setups, but just not as many that have worked. A lot of them are breaking out and then failing. And so at least for right now, we're not in an optimum market condition. So let's keep that in mind. Similar story here on the SPY. The SPY is actually down here at the 50-day, but what it kind of looks like there's a bear flag forming. You got this big drop on Tuesday, and then just kind of sideways action. So is this going to be just kind of a bear flag pattern before next leg down? It kind of feels like that. I don't really necessarily want that to be the case, but we'll just have to see what happens. But it feels like the market is just wants to go lower. So IWM small caps, you can see where it had the breakout back here, and then it failed. And so you see right here, this was a lower high from this high, and then now we're down here at this key, kind of in this key support area around 130, 134. And so if this fails, then the next area would be down here. So this is kind of an important level here, this 134 area on the IWM. If that fails, that's the next support is down here, and then maybe even way down here at 120 somewhere. We have to go back even further. So yeah, right around actually 126 would be an area. So we'll have to see how the market plays out. The healthcare news didn't get through, so could be some people could bring some fear to the market that maybe Trump can't execute on all of his promises, something like that. But just something to keep in mind going forward. IBB, kind of a similar thing, failed through this 300 level, and then basically kind of putting in a bull flag or a bear flag type pattern here at the 50-day. Now that could fit. I mean, this thing could perk up, and then it could change, but we'll have to see what happens. But there's still been some pretty good setups in the biotech sector though. So XLE energy names, these look like they're getting pretty oversold, and this downtrend has been going for quite a while. But you can see here I just made a new low, so trying to pick a bottom is very difficult, and I would say that best to wait on these energy names until looks like they're in a support area from back in October of 16. So maybe they bottom out down here, but ideally you wait until it starts to put in maybe a double bottom or some sideways action, and then break out to the upside through a key breakout point. So the energy names still remain weak. Financials, they had that big, like I said, this one looks like the market, but even more sold off, because you had this before it topped from Trump, and then the sideways fall, and then now you get some more sideways action. So is this going to be another leg down once this consolidates sideways and doesn't get anywhere? So we'd like to see, you know, some strength coming back to the market, and if it just trades sideways and there's no real conviction to the upside, then, you know, maybe we get another leg down. So we just have to, you know, observe what's happening and try to do our best with it, but we can't make the market do anything. All right, so let's talk about some of the trades that I made. Last week I didn't trade very much last week. I actually work a full-time job, and my job was kind of was a lot going on in April, so I had to put together presentations and different things like that. So it was, you know, I didn't make too many trades, but this is just one of the ones here. I really had some conviction on this one, this shipper here through this 12 spot, and then, you know, on the day when the market fell, I didn't, you know, I had to cut this one, but I didn't cut it until it got down to like the 1150 area, so I kind of held too long, and because I really had conviction on this setup, and it failed. So it's kind of sloppiness on my part by not cutting my loss quicker, and then also kind of being somewhat distracted at work by other stuff. So just keep that in mind, guys. It's kind of difficult, at least I've found, if you've got other things going on in life, to be doing well with your trading, because it's just hard to focus on, because trading requires a lot of concentration and focus, and if you're doing other things or got other things going on, vacation or work, so it can be difficult, especially for day trading. But this market seems like it's been a day trader's market lately, because the moves aren't really sustaining themselves, at least in a lot of the names. So GNK, there's one I had to take a loss on. I mean, maybe this one sets back up. The shippers, some of those shippers actually look pretty good, like Diana Shipping. If you want to look at that one real quick. You know, that one's right back up near its highs at around 460. And so this one actually looks pretty good going into next week. And then another one would be ASC. Here's another shipper. This has got this spot here right around 8. We pull this thing back. But you know, once again, see, there's the big drop right there, boom. But if we take a longer look back here, let's go back even further. You know, you can see here this 8 area has been kind of a resistance for quite a while. So this one through 8 would be a nice trade, ASC. I didn't put it on the main top trade idea list, but this one does look pretty good. This is a decent looking shipper. And then Salt is another one that's been really strong, that, you know, fell off, but then looks like it's ramping back up near the high. So this one could be on watch too for next week. So I just want to talk about a trade that I made that was kind of a bad trade. So this is one that, for whatever reason, you know, I've been trying to short this one. I had some success shorting it, you know, back here. But on this big run up, I thought after the market had a big red day, I thought, well, this one, you know, may continue to the downside. So I was looking to short it, and then sure enough, it just had a big green day the next day. And so it cut me out of that one, and I took a loss on that. And so it was me trying to do something that I'm not really good at, which is shorting. I'm better at buying breakouts, and I think I'm going to really focus on and be disciplined with doing what I know works, instead of trying to try these different things out, because it's, you know, shorting is just not something I'm the greatest at. I'm really good at buying breakouts, and I'm going to stick with that, because even when the market's weak, there's still some decent setups on the long side. You just got to focus on you know, finding the right long setups. BIOC, this one looks very interesting here. Another one that I took a position in, and I'm actually red on it currently, because I got in right around like 233, I think, something like that. And I had a nice push that day, and then it kind of gave it all back, and I held the position as a swing, and I continue to hold here, and because the chart does look good. It does look like it's putting up a nice ascending triangle pattern, and then it could break out here real soon if the market perks up. But looking at the chart here, if you kind of zoom in here, you can see here where this 220 area was kind of a resistance in this range, and then when it broke, kind of pulled back. And so I'm using this 220 area. If this fails, I'll just have to get out of the position. but I'm trying to give this thing a little room, see if it can get some momentum back up, because I do like the daily chart. Looks really good. So, you know, hopefully, ideally, this thing 220 is the bottom, and then it starts to ramp up next week, and we'll, you know, make some money on it. But I mean, this is a nice ascending triangle. You can see here where it's putting in the higher highs, and or kind of got this resistance around 240, 250, and then every dip gets bought up, and it's shallower and shallower. So that's, you know, a volatility contraction pattern, and so we'll see. You know, try to be patient with it, but. So next up, here's one that we alerted last week here, LJPC, and had a nice chart. It threw this 36 and had a nice break, but then it gave it all back. So that's, you know, this was the day when the market fell, right? So, you know, these breakouts like this, falling back in the range is just, that's what happens when the market's weak. You get failed breakouts and so forth. But that's why I say if you're, you know, day trading it, you know, you buy this thing, you get a nice break, and then you close your position, and you don't have to worry about this next day. And so that's just one of those things that happen. So not all breakouts work, and especially when the market's weak, you just got to keep that in mind when you're putting on a swing position, that could happen. So AVXL, another great chart, but it did break out on Friday all the way to this recent, you know, 630 area, then it pulled all the way back to 6. So this one still looks pretty good, but like I said, when the market's weak, you've seen these things make a move intraday and then give it all back by the close. So we'll see here. This AVXL still looks good. It's got this nice tight range here, kind of ascending triangle pattern. So 6, and then next spot is right around 630. So I think that one could make a move next week, continue higher. PTX, another one still developing here. Got a spot at 4. It's tested it once, twice, still holding in this ascending triangle pattern like this. So this one's still technically set up good, and it's right near that 4 spot. So I think this one's another good one to watch for some increasing volume coming in. I'm gonna push through the 4, and then you know, 420 is the most recent high, and that would be another key area to watch. So BABA's been acting very well. You know, just like everything else, took a big red day on when the market, you know, dropped, and so it had this tight little, you know, ascending triangle pattern, and then it broke, pulled back and tested it, and then it held, and so now it's back up here at the high. So BABA does look good. BABA looks like it wants to go higher. You know, maybe it pulls back again, puts in some more sideways consolidation, but the line least resistance does appear to be up for BABA at this point. If we look at a longer term, you know, you get this high. So yeah, it's right up here at, see, 109, 110. It's right near the recent highs, 1 year, and let's go even further. BABA's not that. So the next level after that, if 110 can break, then you got, you know, 120 up here. But BABA does look like it's getting ready to go higher. So not a super fast mover, but strong chart. IDRA, nice bio. We had this on the list for Monday through this 208 spot. Had a nice break, you know, pulled back, tested that break, and then continued higher. So it's just one of those ones that have kind of been kind of very resilient in a weak market. So IDRA, there's a nice bio that's been moving, and it actually looks like it's going higher. So maybe it flags out up here and then breaks through 250 or 260. So definitely one to watch going forward. CRBP, I mean, this one had a really nice looking chart going into Monday, but you know, this looks like it had a nice spot here at around 10 bucks, and then it broke that, and then it really closed on the highs. Looked really good, like it wanted to make new highs, and then bam, it just kind of gave it all back on the day the market went down. This one's been, I've traded this one a few weeks ago unsuccessfully. It's a really difficult trader here, this CRBP. They do have some news, drug news out in the next few days. And you know, once again, if it's good news, you'll probably see new highs. If it's bad, then you know, who knows how low it can drop. But anyway, technically speaking, it failed up here, and then it's been just give it all back. So you know, that one, as pretty as that one was, you know, you can see where it just bam, you know, it's just beautiful chart and then just destroyed on that day. So that Tuesday of last week was difficult. It really hit. If you had anything long, you probably lost money. So let's go to, let's see, the next one, CTMX. So this was one that technically was set up, but it got like the news came out before before you can get a piece of it. You know, it gapped up through out of this pattern here. But this was a nice one. It was on the watch list, and then bam, had a big breakout news. So at that point, you can day trade it, but you know, the big breakout had already happened at that point. So take that one off the watch list. CNCE, another one that kind of looked like LJPC here, had the big gap and then the flag, and so it broke technically through this, let's see, was it 18 spot, was the key area, had the 18 break, and then it gave some of it back that day, and then now it broke back below 18, so back in this range again. So just another example of one that had a nice breakout and some good volume during the day, and then just gave it all back over the next coming days. So you know, some of these trades you may have to think more of a day trader mentality and lock in the gains versus, you know, swinging, because the swing trades have a tendency to fail. All right, SUPN. So SUPN is probably the best looking setup for Monday. It's tested this 30 spot right here, you know, roughly it poked above it, and then it failed, tested it again, put in a higher low, and now it's back to there again. So I mean, it could, you know, fail again, put in another higher low, and then test it, and that would be like the fourth test. So the more times it's going to test, more likely it's going to break. But it does look like a good setup for Monday through this 30 area, and then you know, you could use your target as the depth of this pattern. So 27, roughly, let's say 27 and a quarter to 30. So take the difference in that, right, and then add that, what is that, $2.80 or whatever, 70 cents. Add that to the breakout, and that'd be a potential target on the 30 break for SUPN. LTRX, it's another, it's a nice looking chart here, and it's a very strong setup. It's kind of got this wedge type ascending triangle pattern. I like it through roughly the 3 area, or maybe Friday's high, and here's your trend line. Still holding that one very well. So this one's steady higher, put in higher highs and higher lows. So if the market comes on, this one would be a good one to watch. LTRX, like that one. Exoma, here's a very nice breakout. Had a nice chart here at 6. It's on the watch list. I didn't trade it, I'm kicking myself, but it was pretty. Had the big volume breakout there, and it was pretty clear too. So doesn't look too extended. It looks like it's probably going to go higher. Maybe needs a rest for a few days, but Exoma, it's a nice chart there, nice breakout from the watch list. GALT, another one that broke out intraday and then faded all the way back. So another one of those ones where if you traded intraday, you could have locked in some good gains, because it, and then, you know, because it had the 220 break, which was the high of this candle wick, the high here, and then on the it broke on this day, and pretty good volume. And this was a really pretty setup here. Still looks pretty good. It closed at 220, I believe. This must have been an after hours price, because it closed right at the breakout 220. So this one also has potential to continue through that 220 spot for next week. Still a nice looking setup. GALT. KRNT. This one had a flag back here, and then it had so this was a nice pattern right in this range right here, and then it failed, which took it off the radar, and then it started to come back on, and then on this day when it closed right at 18, that was a key level, this 18 spot, and the next spot is 1850. But this one actually looks like now it's ready to break through 18 and then 1850 and head higher. So this was a great looking name for next week too, this KRNT. First spot through 18, and once again it did break on Friday and then gave it all back and closed right at the breakout. So a lot of those, you've seen a lot of those Friday where you had the break and then it faded back. So I wanted to watch if the market gives us any upside momentum next week. RXDX, this looks like a nice flag pattern. So you had the big run up and then puts in this kind of flag pattern here, and then right here where it double bottomed right around just above 8, and then on the break back above 9 indicates that this thing could be ready to test this 960 area. So that'd be the next spot, 950, 960, and then break out to new highs. It looks like this flag is completed, and now it's just ready to kind of work its way up. So RXDX just looks like a nice bull flag. Breakout in the work. Alright, so next up. Yeah, so we looked at ASC, that was a bio. Oh yeah, AAOI. Another very strong chart, this AAOI. Seen a lot of people mentioning it, but it looks like it's right there. So testing new highs right around, let's see, what is that? Through 56 area, and if we go back on the chart, this is an all-time high for this stock, I believe. Yeah, so I mean, this stock continues making new all-time highs. Very strong chart there. I believe it's also really fundamentally a strong company too. So this AAOI could get some more momentum next week. CALD, nice spot at around 21. So we had his breakout high here, pulled back, tested it again, pulled back, put in a higher low. So right to this 21 spot, and then I would use as a target, use maybe 1950 area to 21. So I'd give you $1.50 on top of this 21. So maybe 22.50 potential target. ONTX, so biotech, and it looks like right around this 310 area was kind of a resistance right in here and then right in here, and so this one has a nice bottom look to it. If you look at a longer term chart, this one's pretty beaten down. But you can see here where it just kind of bottomed out and now it's starting to kind of grind up. So maybe 310 area break would be a good trigger. And then next spot, I think it could do maybe even 350 if it actually breaks 310. Very nice looking setup. It's kind of thin though. It only trades, what is that, 50,000 shares a day. So yeah, that one might be a little bit too thin. But it has a nice chart though. Okay, IMMY, this is another bio, and so right through this, say actually maybe you should use 280, 290 area. It's kind of the high this candle, and so it just looks like it's some good volume, decent relative volume the last couple days, and it just looks like it wants to make a push, maybe to 320 area, something like that. Looks like it's bottoming out on the daily chart. So and then let's see here. Yeah, I think that's all of them. All right, yeah, guys. So anyway, let's see what the next week brings. It's like I said, it's been tough the last couple of weeks for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people have had some tough days. So best thing we can do is just continue to use discipline, and go into the week with a fresh mind, and just try to do the best we can, and don't get too emotionally affected by things, and just keep coming back. There's going to be rough times in your trading career where you have a series of bad trades, and it just gets kind of frustrating at times, but you just got to persevere and push through it, and eventually you'll get back on track. And because I've experienced this several times, it's just one of those things you got to go through. But so anyway, guys, we'll see you guys on Monday, and hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday evening. Thanks.